Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our graphing series video on parts of a graph. In this video, we'll be talking about the graph you see here on the board, looking at its various parts and what the parts actually mean. Let's get started. First, this is an XY plot. It's an XY plot because we're graphing X coordinates versus Y coordinates, X and Y. The X coordinates appear here at the bottom, and the Y coordinates here at the top. Traditionally, the way the graph is structured is the X variables are the ones we control. We call those the independent variables. The Y variables along the Y axis change as we go. Here, what we see on the graph here are we called axes. There are locations where the variables are graphed. This is the X axis, this is the Y axis. The point here in the center, which is 0, is commonly referred to as the origin. Every graph needs a title. In this case, we're graphing the density of water. The graph gives us information about the change and the relationship of the two variables. To draw a graph, we're going to put data points on the graph based off our data. Our data points are shown here on the graph, indicating a change of volume versus mass. You'll notice here that once the data points are plotted, I draw a line through the data points. That line, a straight line which connects the points, is called a line of best fit. From that line, you'll notice there is a gradual increase. That's called the slope. The slope is the difference in the Y variable divided by the X variable, commonly referred to as the rise over the run. The slope is the change in Y divided by the change in X. By putting those two numbers in, we get both the sign of the slope, positive or negative, and what the slope is related to. In this case, our slope is positive, meaning the rise and the run both go up. If the graph looked more like this, with the graph going down here, the slope would be negative. This is what we call an indirect relationship versus a direct relationship. Given this graph, I can find various pieces of information. Down here, we get what's called the y-intercept. The y-intercept is commonly referred to as b in math classes. If I know, say, a mass, I can find the volume using what we call an extrapolation method. For example, if I know my mass is 45, I can draw a line over to the graph, put my point here, draw a line down, and notice that my volume should also be about 45. This is how we do unknown analysis, a technique we'll use in lab several times this year. The point of a graph is to show you the relationship of the two variables, both y and x, both to see the relationship, but also to do analysis within lab, both comparing the different changes, the different slopes, and by getting information about unknown variables. Given that, this has been our video on Introduction to Graphing and the Parts of a Graph. Have a great rest of your day.